After an entire year of waiting for Arknights Endfield to return, I'm one of the selected creators to try and play Arknights Endfield in an effort to see how much of the game has improved since the technical test. In a year, many improvements have been made, and in this video, I'll be going over the things that stand out and give you a review of the game overall from my perspective. I want to make something clear before we begin. Yes, I am a Hypergryph fanboy, but in no way will I allow this review to be skewed by my love for their games. The purpose of this review is not only to provide feedback on the things I like and didn't like, but also to provide suggestions for features that I feel would make the overall game much better before release. This video is not sponsored by Hypergryph Gryphline in any way, shape, or form, and all of the opinions in this video are my own after playing over 65 hours of the game. Let's get right into it. To kick things off, Arknights Endfield is a 3D RPG developed by Hypergryph and published by their own publishing company Gryphline. The game was kicked off by a truly stunning introduction sequence that appears to tie in elements of the original game, but also introducing you to the plot of this brand new title, Endfield. The story revolves around a character known as the Administrator, who has lost their memories after waking from a long sleep. The Administrator is only woken up when a major crisis is occurring, and this time, the crisis is a combination of the Blight as well as the Alloy. I won't dive too deep into the story, but I will say that the story I experienced had highs and really low lows, and the cutscenes in this game are absolutely fantastic. I appreciated the change in how the story was told, as the previous technical test had us watching two or more characters just standing around talking about events taking place instead of showing us these events. This beta took a different approach with a lot of camera angle changes and visual representations of events taking place or referred to. There was still a lot of dialogue, which I don't expect to change, as the original game is known for hours upon hours of text for each story, but I do like that the team over at Hypergryph is experimenting with ways to make the storytelling easier to absorb by giving us visuals to go alongside the events when nothing is truly happening at that moment. I will say that character expressions and voiceovers for many characters still need a bit of work, especially Perlica, but when they got it right, it truly showed.
My name is Perlica. I am the supervisor of Endfield Industries. While you get reacquainted with this place, I will also be in charge of your well-being. It's all right, Administrator. You might not remember this either, but you've always been the leader of Endfield Industries. You are the paragon and most important companion of every Endfielder. Director Chin, do we have a contingency plan to handle a situation like this?
Andre mentioned it before, but almost all of us thought he was just being paranoid. The ether cell has been stable for so many years, and UWST is supposed to be familiar with its use.
Those Woosters are good engineers, but they're not landbreaker experts. No one saw this coming.
Those landbreakers must have done something to the ether cell. We registered spikes in ether readings after the explosion, but they're all below the event threshold so far. We still have a chance to fix this.
I hope those readings are accurate. The sky is changing before our eyes. We're facing a potential etherside rupture event.
Now, let's talk about the combat and progression systems, because this game is taking a different approach to character progression and combat. Progression holds some similar systems, as you'll be utilizing a stamina system to grind for very specific materials that will help you level up your character, weapons, skills, and more. However, this game utilizes a very different gearing system than many other games with gacha mechanics in them. All of the gear in this game have static stats. This means that the stats have absolutely no RNG associated with them. If you craft a set of gloves or armor from a specific gear set, the stats will always be the same. This means that the approach taken for gear doesn't rely on RNG, but instead it focuses on ease of creation and a bit of build diversity for gear set buffs, which enables creativity for character building. For example, this character Gilberta is a nature elemental character, and there is a specific set for characters like her with this element. However, I can use a set made for gathering SP instead, which allows me to execute more abilities, since she'll be contributing to giving me more SP to use when I need to execute skills. I feel like this is a brilliant way to execute character development, because it will allow us to create different uses for characters regardless of their intended roles. They also have this system added to the weapons that from my time playing the game, is the most RNG element of this game's progression systems, and it's the essence system. You basically obtain these items through enemy drops or crafting, and these items add on to the weapon's stats in the game. But instead of needing to grind for 3 or 4 of these items per character, you only need to grind for 1 per character's equipped weapon, so it's not that bad. However, good luck getting a piece that has all 3 stats that you're looking for. Let's move on to the combat, because there are many changes compared to the technical test that was held last year. In this beta, the developers revamped the battle system from the slower MMORPG-ish system that enabled you to think about your moves and even tell your character what direction the move should be executed in. The current battle system is a mix of action RPG and some SRPG elements by giving you an SP bar at the bottom that allows you to execute up to 3 skills when filled. You fill this SP bar by executing final blows through your basic attack chain or building characters to obtain SP faster. You can also wait for your SP to be regained, but this takes the longest as the SP bar is a team-wide resource instead of giving each character their own SP bar. A dodge was also added, but unfortunately this dodge isn't too useful as it interrupts the possibility of landing a final blow by forcing you to start the basic chain attack all over again once you dodge. This new combat system makes combat faster than the previous system while also providing a sense of depth that will allow you to explore more team comps based off of a new feature called combo skills. Combo skills are abilities that are activated when specific actions have taken place in battle. For example, Leviathan's combo skills activate when combustion is dealt to enemies on the field. This is done by mixing her heat arts with another set of elemental arts. Another example is Arknights combo skill, which activates whenever an ability that restores SP is activated. It's up to you as the player to explore the various options given to you through these characters and find which combo skills chain together so that you can create something that looks a little like this.
Field training session.
Let me have a taste of this!
Try breaking out of that!
Flint. Need a hand?
Surprise! Great time!
An opening.
Everyone's doing great! Try to not stumble! Your weight is double!
Give me power! You cannot take that hit!
Sometimes it's your prize!
Combo attack ready. Try breaking out of that!
There are also basic attacks that you execute through the left click on your mouse, a skill, and an ultimate. Each one of these also have the possibility to activate combo skills if they meet the character's requirements. This combo skill system can also be manipulated by the set of gear that you have equipped on each of the characters as well as their talents. Both the character progression systems as well as the combat work incredibly well together, generating a great experience for the players when you have properly come up with a build that you are proud of. Now, the biggest aspect of the game is the base building. Base building is a very important aspect of your overall account progression. You want to craft higher quality gear? You must build the item requirements within the base. You want healing items and buffs to carry around? You must build the item requirements. Want to upgrade the various other bases in the game? You get the point. Building is a very important aspect of this game, and I'd argue that it's the main focus of this game. They've added other bases called Outposts, which give you more room for growth and obtaining important items, but without learning how each structure works, you'll most likely find yourself rebuilding a lot. However, once you've built your base in a way that provides all the needs for your account, you will have a consistent flow of that item when needed. Another aspect of the base building is the outpost system. Each outpost is requesting for a specific item to be made in exchange for a currency that can be utilized by a shop on the home ship while leveling up the outpost at the same time, giving you a larger outpost to build upon a bit more. Think of your outpost as an additional base building section where you can craft even more items needed. This gives you another location to build and acquire items needed to progress within the game. Along with outposts come quests that teach you more about the systems within the game. This outpost system didn't exist in the previous technical test and is a nice addition. Another base building mode that I was hoping for was base raids, and they delivered. Think of this as a 3D manifestation of the original Arknights game that takes place at every outpost. However, this mode must be activated so it doesn't happen by surprise, and you don't lose materials or your base when you fail. I personally don't feel like there's enough risk in this mode, but that's just me. The way that this works is you'll be placing down crafted defenses that will attack the enemies as they invade the base. You can also use your own party of characters to contribute to the defenses of your base. Each outpost has this available after meeting some quest related requirements, but I think it's a nice entry to the game despite needing more work. Now, I want to take a moment to share all of the feedback that I've gathered during my experience playing Arknights Endfield. Number 1. The story has drastically improved, especially visually, but sometimes the voiceover and character expressions cause the story to feel as if it's falling short, when it's actually the character performance that's lacking. A great example of this is Perlica. She lacks the emotion both visually as well as her vocal expression. Since this character is your traveling companion, I was expecting her to open up more over time, but during this beta, she's been the most boring character because of this, which makes the story feel like a drag when she's around. Number 2. Combat in this game has improved drastically with the addition of combo skills in this action-based system. However, I do feel like once you get the characters built and the rotation perfected, combat gets a bit repetitive. However, I only started to feel this way once I completed all of the content in the beta, so maybe it was just a lack of new things to do, but I figured it was worth mentioning anyway. Number 3. I love the amount of choice for the gear provided in the game. However, I do feel like the amount of gear sets just wasn't enough. I love to have enough gear sets that allow you to do more with your characters and focus on specific stats. I don't want the RNG to return, just more sets with more statistical options and buffs that give me more diversity in the character builds. I will say that this was a fantastic first step. Number 4. In this test, there was a mode called Algorithmic Memories. This was the most boring part of the entire beta, as you spend time collecting balls that give you stat buffs in this linear platforming setting. I'd like this to be more roguelike with options that could completely change the way you play your characters. However, the boss fights in this mode were incredibly fun and surprisingly difficult sometimes. Number 5. Base building is a wonderful idea that I found to be incredibly fun to play around with, but sometimes you're required to start from scratch in order to optimize your base. Having the option to save one template that you previously built and return to that base template at any time would be a fantastic feature to have. Another thing that you should be able to do is allow your friends to view your base so that your friends can copy your base manually if they choose. Whatever you do, do not allow people to download bases and just use them as a template. Make them have to do the work so the reward feels worth it. Number 6. Give us truly difficult optional content. I understand that hard content sometimes turns players away, but I'd like to experience trial and error even after fully building my characters. I love bosses that require you to understand the intricacies of each character on your team, as well as feel the effects of each piece of gear added to my character's build. Arknights had difficulty even if you had powerful units, as you need to understand the mechanics and each character's purpose. Add various mechanics on the boss's fields that need to be utilized, or you could suffer quick defeat. Please do not make this game easy and boring. Number 7. While the SB system is great, the dodge added to the game isn't too rewarding, and it sometimes feels better to just tank a hit and finish your final blow in order to gather that SP needed to cast your skills. I think a great approach would be to have the dodge allow us to continue your current attack chain when executing a perfect dodge, instead of forcing us to start all over again after the dodge. This will allow for more final blows, which will result in more SP. I want to be clear that I understand the point of this system is to have us perfect our timing and force us to watch our skill usage instead of spamming them. However, the dodge becomes a negative in this game instead of a positive, which makes the dodge useless in many cases, in my opinion. Number 8. Last but not least, give us the option that asks us if we want consistent tutorials to appear when we discover something. Some of us just like to learn through trial and error. You can make this a setting in the options as well as something you select early into the game. It's very important that this is added, as there are so many tutorials that you're forced to sit through. And that's it for my review of Arknights Endfield. This experience is exactly what I've been looking for, and I can't wait to experience the next beta or the final release of the game. Whatever comes next, I'm ready for it. If you have any thoughts, suggestions, or questions, leave them in the comment section below, but don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more Arknights Endfield content. Have a wonderful day, stay healthy, stay safe, and stay chaotic. Peace out, everyone.